What's going on, guys? My name is Tommy. Welcome back to the channel. Today, your Pathfinder 2nd Edition preview content rolls right on. Today, we're talking about conditions. If you guys like what you're hearing, remember, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and real quick, this episode of your Pathfinder 2nd Edition preview content was brought to you in part by John Diffley. John, thanks so much for your help, my friend. Now, let's dive in. So in Pathfinder 1st Edition, conditions were by and large things we did to people to impose some sort of debuff on them. We're talking paralyzed, nauseated, sickened, frightened, shaken, and everything in between. It was a part of combat that was a little more movable. Different things we could do to different opponents to mess with the tactics of things. Of course, and this is especially true at high level play or if the GM learns what we're trying to do, monsters exist out there that are immune to a lot of the conditions we'd be passing out. In Pathfinder 2nd Edition, conditions are getting a complete overhaul. Quote, "For the playtest, we've expanded conditions to cover a little more ground in two different directions. In one direction, now any long-lasting effect can impose a condition on a character. These conditions might be defined by a specific spell or ability, and often include a specific type of bonus or penalty called a conditional bonus or conditional penalty. In the other direction, we've expanded on the conditions from 1st Edition to create a solid set of basic conditions for the playtest. Some of these conditions cover common benefits, allowing us to clarify how multiple effects combine. The example they use to define this is the accelerated condition, which increases your speed by a certain value, and the hampered condition, which decreases your speed by a certain value. In the playtest, you will use only the highest accelerated value you have. So if one effect made you accelerated 5 and another made you accelerated 10, your speed would increase by 10, not 15. This is in much the same vein as things like belts of physical perfection +6 that would grant us a +6 to all our physical stats, and then somebody comes up and casts something like Bull's Strength on you, which gives you an enhancement bonus to your strength. They don't stack. You would take the higher 6 rather than the 4. And I can get behind this kind of organization because a lot of times buff spells that would come from different casters or different players or both would often get confusing, and often one would just override the other. If we can more clearly define that, sounds great to me. The next two conditions we'll be talking about are quick and slowed. Quote, "When you're quick, you gain 1 extra action per turn that you can use in 1 or more ways according to the effect that made you quick. For example, a 20th level monk with enduring quickness is permanently quick and can use the extra action to stride, to leap, or as part of a high jump or long jump. The haste spell makes its target quick and lets them use the extra action to stride or strike. So if our level 20 monk benefits from haste, he would add strike to the list of options for the extra action from the quick condition as long as the haste spell was in effect. Conversely, slowed removes actions and prevents the creature from readying actions. This, like accelerated, is an example of a condition that comes with a condition value to indicate how severe the condition is. For example, if a creature becomes slowed 1, it loses 1 action per turn. A slowed 2 creature loses 2, and so on and so forth. Again, the blog does point out these are not cumulative, so if your Barbarian gets slowed 2 and then gets slowed 1, they only lose 2 actions. This is kinda interesting, if for no other reason than there were a lot of sources in Pathfinder 1st Edition that one could use to get haste or a similar effect. A monk could use a point from a key pool to get an extra attack, the haste spell existed, the Blessing of Fervor spell existed, the speed enchantment existed for your weapons. Some of these things would do different effects, and that's basically what we're seeing here, just a little more codified. Next, we've got some other conditions that have condition values. The first we see is the frightened condition, which has a higher value the more scared you are. And this value is also the conditional penalty you take to checks and saving throws. So for example, if you are frightened 2, you take a -2 penalty to checks and saves, but Frightened's condition value decreases by 1 at the end of each of your turns until it reaches 0, and at that point it goes away. The frightened condition will be covering all kinds of fear, so there's no more shaken, there's no more panicked. It's just the one condition. Frightened also no longer automatically makes you run away, but some effects do give you the fleeing condition. In Pathfinder 2nd Edition, the sick condition is similar to Frightened in that it gives you a penalty to the same rolls, but it's more severe for 2 reasons. First off, when you have the sick condition, you can't drink anything up to and including potions. Also, it doesn't go away on its own. Instead, you have to spend an action retching in an attempt to recover. Ooh, that's a wonderful mental image. Which lets you attempt a new save to end the sickness. It's sort of like a mini poison effect. And that makes it all the more powerful. You're flat losing an action to try to get the sick condition off you. I can get behind that. Next up, we're looking at relative conditions. Specifically, the flat-footed and concealed condition. The flat-footed condition gives a -2 circumstance penalty to AC. Some things make you flat-footed to everyone, but usually you're flat-footed to a creature that's flanking you or that otherwise has the drop on you. With the new critical rules, that 2 points of AC can make a big difference, and I've been saying this to the guys I've been talking to. It's not gonna just be the barbarians with the giant great swords swinging down that are gonna be the crit fishers of Pathfinder 2nd Edition. No, it's gonna be the rogues, because all you have to do is get 10 or better over the armor class to crit, and if the rogue is the master of the debuff, so too does he become the master of the critical hit. Anywho, to continue, the concealed condition works much like concealment used to. An attacker has to succeed at a DC 5 flat check to hit you. In the playtest, flat checks have replaced mischances and other things that might fail or succeed, regardless of skill. Attempting a flat check is like any other D20 roll against the DC, except that no modifiers alter your result, so you need to roll a 5 or higher on the flat check, or you just miss. Next up, we're looking at some effects that used to deal ability damage, and now they impose new conditions. Enfeebled will impose a conditional penalty on attack rolls, damage rolls, and strength-based checks equal to the condition value. Sluggish is similar, AC, attack rolls, dex-based skills, and reflex saves. Stupefied covers mental effects, which imposes a conditional penalty on spell DCs, as well as on intelligence, wisdom, and charisma-based checks. Wow, that's really good. If there's something like the witch with slumber or misfortune in Pathfinder 2nd Edition right off the bat, that's what we do. We make them stupefied, and suddenly they're a little less powerful. In addition, it also requires you to attempt a special roll each time you cast a spell, or else the spell is disrupted. The penalty from stupefied also will apply to this roll. The worse the stupefied condition, the harder it is to cast spells. Last up, we're looking at one of the conditions used by the Barbarian, the fatigued condition. Quote, when you're fatigued, you're hampered 5, the opposite of accelerated, so your speed is decreased, and you take a -1 conditional penalty to your AC and saving throws. Furthermore, your fatigue means that everything takes more effort to do, so when you're fatigued, each action you use on your turn worsens this condition penalty by 1 until the start of your next turn. So if you were to use all 3 of your actions on your turn when you're fatigued, you'd land at fatigued 4. Of course, for the Barbarian, like we talked about on Monday, and hey, if you missed the most amazing class in the world on Monday, follow this card right up here, we'll catch you up. The fatigue goes away in a round, but if you get fatigued from something else, normally it takes a night's rest to recover. That's really, really scary. A -4 to your armor class, a -4 to your saves, both in a world where it's that much easier to crit. So now if somebody attacks me and I'm flat-footed, it's a -6 on my Barbarian when the rogues get the drop on him. Oh, that's real bad. I foresee a lot of dead Barbarians in the playtest, and also I foresee that when a Barbarian is raging, they're gonna hit like a truck, because they'd have to, right? To offset how mean, for lack of a better word, this penalty is. You imagine the buffs to everything from AC to saves to attacks and damage, things like that, have got to be equally powerful. That's definitely something I'm looking forward to getting my hands on and seeing. But that's a story for another time. What do you guys think about all these? Are we excited to play something like debuff wizards or rogues and apply these to people? Are we still okay with playing the Barbarian, even though we take a huge penalty to our saves when we're fatigued? Most importantly, are we still stoked out there for Pathfinder 2nd Edition? Because, hey, we're playing Doomsday Dawn right here on the channel. As of the time this goes live on YouTube, you have 2 weeks and 2 days to follow this card right up here to sign up For the giveaway, 6 lucky subscribers will be taken through Doomsday Dawn. And hey, remember, patronage at any tier gets you an extra entry in all of our giveaways forever. And if we can get Patreon up to around $300 a month, I'll take 2 groups through. Anyway, that's all we have for today. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. Again, be sure to like and subscribe for more videos. The next episode of your Pathfinder 2nd Edition preview content drops this Tuesday.